My next speaker is Hubban Khan. He is from Pakistan. Hubban, please join me on stage. How are you doing?
Hey, Bastian. I'm great. How are you doing?
We are good. We are good. We're still in the middle of World Diabetes Day. For you, I guess, similar to Snehal, it is already close to the end of World Diabetes Day, correct?
It is.
How did you spend the day to start off with that? How did you celebrate? What did you do on World Diabetes Day today?
Well, it's always starts with community, ends with community. I was Today was a special day to send those little treats of memes to our friends online and the community as well. And yeah, we've been sharing and staying active with the community, sharing our lives, just the little bits of it, what's working, what's not working. Yeah.
Wonderful. Hoban, you have been working and you would like to talk about a specific research report, a research project you were doing on the rights of children with type 1 diabetes in schools in Pakistan. Take it away.
Absolutely.
Tell us.
All right. Happy World Diabetes Day, everyone. So I'm Hubban and I work with Meeti Zindagi as a diabetes advocate. And this is a very special project. So at Meeti Zindagi, we're all about the person-led initiatives, advocacy, awareness, peer support. All of that is something we prioritize. And this project is about the rights of children living with diabetes in schools and educational institutes. And it's actually a personal story because when I started my secondary school is when I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And just recently, I was graduated from college. And so what this includes is that a large part of our life for people who are younger and in educational institutes, they're spending 1/3 of their days in schools, in educational institutes. And the question that that brings up is how well structured or accommodating are our systems and the institutes to take care of our needs? In Pakistan, it's a very difficult situation. We do community events, we hear from people, and it's a lot about discrimination that they face in schools and educational institutes. Every now and then we hear about a certain child being denied into an exam room with their insulin or with their insulin pumps. It's instances like these which make our lives harder. It's already very true that life with diabetes is very hard, but discrimination and lack of support from institutions, especially educational institutes, makes life very hard for people living with diabetes. And at the end of the day, when you talk about the root of the problem, it comes down to not enough or not uh, comprehensive enough policy structure in place. Because even if I'm discriminated against, there should be a body that I can reach out to for compensation, for help, for protection. And the root of this project or the aim is to develop that policy and structure because in Pakistan currently we don't have that. And before I go on, I would like to thank all of my collaborators, the peers. Zuhad helped me a lot, a wonderful diabetes advocate from Pakistan. Sana herself, the leader of Meeti Zindagi, with her advice and experience. So moving on, what happened is we started a research project. We started with surveys in our community because we know a lot about this, but it's not formalized in data. So that was the goal with this project to reach out to the community, get their experiences in numbers. It's hard to put it into numbers, but we tried. And the way we did this is we reached out to our people through digital surveys, but also through in-person interviews because we wanted to divide the demographic population. A large part of our country is not having access to internet, not having access to the basic needs like insulin. Meeti Zindagi has a promise of insulin program that takes care of the basic diabetes needs of a lot of these underprivileged children. And we reached out to them in in-person interviews and got their experience as well in schools, in educational institutes, how or what are the challenges that they face when it comes to diabetes management. Now, just to talk a bit about the findings, it's a bit depressing, but getting this data was important. And what we learned through people is that a large population of these children or young adults were discriminated against when it came to co-curricular activities. Now we know that's a very important part of a child's upbringing or a child's development, but just because of stigma, just because of discrimination, people were denied entry into sports or other co-curricular activities because there was widespread stigma around it. We're talking about the theme of mental health with diabetes. One thing that came up very in a very highlighting way was the mood swings and the stress that people feel in these educational institutes because they're not accommodated, whether that's discrimination or lack of support. It just ended up in people feeling stressed, and they had mood swings. And with educational institutes, this impacts their health and academic outcomes. A lot of people said that they were not able to focus in exams and the high stress situations because of diabetes, because of the fear that I could go low, and that leading to a lot of overcorrective measures that hurt people. At the last, what I've highlighted in red, and it rightfully deserves to be highlighted in red, was this statistic that from the half of the population that we surveyed, 25% of them were discouraged from carrying insulin or injecting insulin in particular situations. Now, 25% might be a smaller number for someone who's not in the diabetes world, but we know when it comes to insulin, restricting access to it is risking lives. So this is very alarming for us, but we're glad to get that data in because now we can act on it. Just to talk about the next steps, we've got the data. Now, the next steps for us is to use this data to advocate in our country with the relevant government bodies. So we are already reaching out to the health ministries, uh, to the educational ministries to get their support on this momentum and sort of take that initiative, draft a policy document that enforces the basic rights of people living with diabetes. That if I'm living with diabetes, I can take my insulin pump into an exam room. It's not that I'm going to cheat with it. These are very basic understandings that we need to develop, and we're advocating for it. The other point is about awareness. That never stops. It's important to do policy, but on the side, we're doing awareness sessions as well. Meet Zindagi regularly sets these community events where we talk about these issues. We bring people from the community to the stage, and the agenda is always to make people understand what it's like living with diabetes. In the end, I would just like to say that it would be a lovely pleasure to connect with all of you. You can find the links over here. I've also put a QR code of a research report if you want to dive into it and find out more about the research report and what were the findings in there. Um, and yeah, reach out to me or Meet Zindagi for finding out more. I would just like to take a moment to thank dedoc and the overall diabetes community for their support and everything that you're doing. Just to share on a personal note, this project was started in a very normal conversation with one of the dedoc voices from India, Mirdula. I don't think she's here, but it was just a conversation leading to a project in Pakistan and a lot of diabetes advocates getting together. So it's very important for the community to keep talking, and it's very important for DDoC to keep providing this platform and really making a difference. And we're definitely going towards a better future. So thanks a lot, Bastian, and thanks to everyone who's tuned in today for everything you do.
Hubban, I think it is for us and for the diabetes community, especially, of course, in Pakistan, but in general, to thank you, to thank people like you, to thank your organization, Miti Zindahi. I'd like to just very quickly pick out three things from what you were presenting, not directly, not repeating that, but on a more meta level. What I find amazing about this is that, as you were saying, it starts in a normal conversation. This is part of what we experience over and over and over again with the dedoc Voices program. We bring on every larger conference in the world, we bring up to 25 diabetes advocates, who we call dedoc Voices later, together, and they just meet, exchange, have conversations, and they lead to the most amazing things. In this case, in your case, even more interesting in a way that it was between you from Pakistan and another diabetes advocate, another dedoc voice from
Yeah.
India. We know your two countries are officially, at least, still at war. But then it leads to a proper research project driven by people living with diabetes. This is what is generally referred to as citizen science. This is something that has developed more and more over the last years and decades. But it is so amazing to see this come to fruition. You're doing proper research to back up your claims and say, and then the next thing, number two, you don't stop there. We always say diabetes advocates, and some people don't really know what do we mean by that. It's a bit of a word, but
Yeah,
you do the research, you take the findings, as uncomfortable as they are or as shocking as they may be, but then, as you're saying, you go and you reach out to policymakers. This is advocacy at its core. So you're actually asking for policy change, and you can back it up with data now. That is advocacy. You're
absolutely.
standing up for something
Yeah,
that you think is necessary, that needs to be changed. And I think everybody crosses all fingers and toes that you will be successful with this. And then the third thing is you're going out even further than just the policymakers to do advocacy. You're going out to, like now, basically, to raise awareness around this in an even more global way now here at the Virtual World Diabetes Day. But also, I would love you to do what you probably already have, an executive summary, a write-up, a blog article about this on the dedoc blog. And we could even try and push it to journals like the BMJ and the Lancet, who we have quite good relationships with, because this is the kind of stuff that, more people should know about, not only in this community, not only here on World Diabetes Day, but especially also in the larger healthcare community, the professional community. And I want to really congratulate you and Miti Zindahi on doing what you're doing. It's amazing.
thanks a lot, Bastian, and thanks for that offer. It's already in the plans. We will be definitely coming to you with a blog, and
Wonderful.
yeah, I just wanted to take a personal moment to thank you for everything you've done. I was just having a chat with Sana, and the way you supported us with the Promise of Insulin program, and when we were having the insulin crisis, and you stepped up with Insulin for Life to provide that insulin to the underprivileged children in Pakistan. It's amazing. On every level, you're helping the diabetes community. Keep up the good work, Bastian. I really wish you best of luck. And we
It
hope we
is.
keep seeing each other. Yeah.
It goes back to you, Hubban, and your amazing team. Miti Zindahi, maybe you want to say, before we stop, maybe you want to say a few more words about Miti Zindahi, the organization. You just mentioned Sana, the founder. You have a huge team in Pakistan. You, you were just talking about this research, but the real work you're doing, amongst many, many other things, you're actually together with organizations like Life for a Child, like the Helmsley Foundation and Breakthrough T1D, who are supporting on the back end financially, and with now Insulin for Life, who stepped in when there was a crisis or a delivery shortage, basically. You are actually bringing insulin to children with diabetes in need who would otherwise not have access, not have funding, not have the resources. Tell us a little bit more about the real work you do beyond just the research project, now that you bring
Yeah,
it up.
absolutely. So really, Meri Zindagi is all about people with diabetes and their needs and enhancing the state of diabetes care. Now, unfortunately, we talk about advocacy, but at the end of the day, the most biggest need is insulin. And in Pakistan, where the minimum wage is hardly $100, what happens is that a lot of our population and the rural population especially is deprived of that privilege of insulin. And so Meeti Zindagi has taken up that initiative with our Promise of Insulin program, where we have um, almost 1,000 people on the board who are being supported with insulin, with their diabetes supplies, with health checkups, and all of that done is through donations and international collaborators who are helping us achieve that. And it's not just the only thing we do. On the side, we are doing awareness, advocacy projects, and a lot of things that come back to the community. And it's very important because in Pakistan, we don't have that level of support from the government. So we reach out internationally, and it has been amazing working with dedoc and other international communities that have helped with their advice, with their wisdom, and also with their resources to help us establish this space in Pakistan. It's really precious, especially when I think about dedoc, the opportunity for our advocates to go into these international conferences and bring back their experience into Pakistan and start their own projects. It's just mind blowing, and I think that's an amazing thing that you've achieved. Working in India, working in Pakistan, very similar stories. So yeah, kudos to you, to the diabetes community. And yeah, if anyone's interested to hear more about it, you can reach out to us. You can reach out to me. and we'd love to have a conversation.
Hubban, again, thanks a lot. I think the work you do is amazing. We will see each other very, very soon in Singapore, I hope, and then we'll see.
Thank you,
Hubban,
Bastian.
Metis and Dahi, the work that you do, this research project, again, there is the link here to you and to the research project, and I would encourage everybody who is following to click on that, to follow the QR code maybe, and actually read the study. I am seriously impressed. Hubban Khan from Pakistan joining us live. Have a good rest and late hour of World Diabetes Day there. Thank you for
I
joining
will.
us.
You too, Bastian. Take care.